non-submarine video in a while. Even though, I guess I sort of, maybe I should keep going that submarines are not real and just call that the name go. And as long as, we'll see what happens. If this feed is still able to reach people, then we know we don't need to adjust it. But we could change the title and call this The Submarines Are Not Real Show, if that's what it's going to take to bring people here. So that when they get here, I can condemn the fuck out of Israel and the Jewish people. And you get the message. Otherwise, you probably won't. Because, look at this title. We'll see. We'll see what if this title brings the people. But at the end of the day, that's, the truth is, you're just being distracted. Everything is a distraction to stop us, Goyim, everybody, everything that is not Jewish, from coming together and destroying our slave masters. That's what it is. At the end of the day, we're slaves. Dumb slaves who mutilate our own children to show our Jewish ownership to an invisible God. It's really disgusting. And I'm extremely proud of my anti-Semitism, because I know what words mean. If you call me anti-Semitic, I'm not going to take that very well. That's not nice. I'm not racist. I'm not racist at all. And Semitic, unfortunately for the Jews, they don't actually own that word. They might think they do, but Semitic refers to all of the people in the area. All of the Semitic people, the Palestinians, the Iranians, the Iraqis, the Syrians, the Lebanese, even the North Africans, the black people, those are Semitic people. So Jews don't own Semitic. Semitism, on the other hand, is a predisposition or belief in showing Jews favor, predisposition to show Jews favor, meaning Jewish supremacy. It's just a nice way of wording it. But Semitism is Jewish supremacy. There's a reason why they changed the spelling of a word after 140 years. In 2021, they changed it from ANTI hyphen capital SEMITISM to straight ANTI SEMITISM.
Yeah.
And they did that because as they told us, they flat out said, the reason we did this is to keep the Goyim from realizing that, or from thinking that anti-Semitism opposes something called Semitism, which it does. It's that's what it is. That's the etymology of the word, and that's what the word means. Anti-supremacy. What is the topic today? I'm not sure yet. I feel real guilty. I always feel guilty about these last few days. And I read this meme today that said something like, you don't understand how privileged and fortunate you are to live an everyday life where you're not worried about Israelis killing you and your family. The psychopathic Israelis killing everyone you know, dropping bombs on you from the sky. You are incredibly privileged if you don't have to worry about that. And I don't think we all realize that. We complain about our football team didn't win, or, our bill, we didn't do enough to make the life we wanted, so our bills don't get paid, or whatever it is. And we complain thinking that we got it real bad. You hear people talking about it, crying, upset, I listened to my wife the other day with her group of, I don't even know what to call them. Like, I don't know if they're just a harem of witches or whatever they do. But I listened to them talk, and they sound like Christians. It's really crazy how Christianity, the like underlying foundations of Christianity, they they infiltrate everything. They we're all just dumb Christians in this Western society. And it's strange to listen to people, who are smart enough to see through Christianity, but still need that programming that Christianity provided. The only military conflicts you fixated on involve Jewish people. What about the dozens of other conflicts, bro? You tell me which other conflicts are killing, have a first world country using American-made weapons and American-made dollars to perform genocide, killing at least 43,000, mostly women and children, in the last year. Sounds like you need Jesus. There's no such thing. It's fucking stupid. Sorry. The stuff going on in Africa is very true. There's no doubt. But unlike the whole Israel stuff, nobody's bragging about it. They don't brag about the Sudanese stuff. And the reality is, if we want to fix the African conflicts, we need to overthrow the Jews that run the show. So the only way to fix Africa is to eradicate Israel and the people in charge. And this is the reality that you just don't want to talk about. And you do everything you can. Like why should I talk about anything else? If all these other things are being talked about, what does it matter? Other people are talking about it, so why should I talk about something different when the thing I'm talking about is ongoing? I never get debunked. I never get even debated. And, there's so many stupid people trying to get me to stop talking about it. And why would anybody say, hey, stop talking about this and talk about something else? What would be the reason? What would be somebody's motivation? I always tell you guys, man, you have to look at the logistics of things. And the motivation is part of the logistics. You should let the hate out of your heart. Yep, I should let the hate out. I should stop hating pedophiles. I should stop hating genocide. I should stop hating slavery. Because you've been told that this 4-letter word that you've been given in English that covers this wide range of things. It's a very vague word, hate. Same thing with love, another 4-letter word that covers a large portion of things. And you're allowed to love all you want. But if you hate stuff, oh, that's bad. Don't hate things. You should let the hate out of your heart. Go fuck yourself. I hate religion. I fucking hate the slavery of religion that keeps us dumb goyim stupid. I hate it. And there's nothing you can do to tell me why I shouldn't. Sup, TXT? I still appreciate the offer. Not saying I've forgotten about you or anything. Just we're getting there. Let the hate go in your heart. Let the hate go in your heart. I'd love to hear somebody's reasoning for why I should stop hating pedophiles. Please tell me that. I had a couple of pedophiles on here yesterday, actually. 2 people on here that were like proudly acknowledging the fact that they fuck with kids. It was disgusting, and it's crazy because there's nothing I could do, other than allow them to out themselves, and hopefully people do whatever. Cindy, what's up? People can figure out who they are and go exterminate them. I don't know what else to do. Like, I'm going to give you the platform. I want you to acknowledge yourself. And it's just crazy to think like they're Israeli. It's just more Israel stuff. The Israelis are the ones that are brazen like that. They'll just do horrible shit and brag about it. Why do we allow it? Why are we okay with it? It's funny. I sit here and I read the comments and I address what people say and then turn it back on them, and they never have anything to say in response. It's weird you are avoiding the flat earth topic today. I'm avoiding it? What am I avoiding? Like, this is just so stupid. Again, I find it strange that people are this stupid. Right? Like, this person doesn't know how to communicate normally. So they just sort of say stupid things. And it's like, he's going to antagonize me. Like, who? Please, more than anything, just take this into consideration and see what's going on here. You're crazy. Yep, I'm crazy. Anybody who starts talking about the guy who thinks we should kill pedophiles is crazy. Makes you wonder who they are. Probably a Jew pedophile. Wouldn't be surprised. You know, and let's just say I'm just a troll. I'm just making jokes. If you make pedophile jokes, you're a pedophile. Real people, like real non-pedophile people, don't think pedophile jokes are funny. Guys, understand what's happening here. You know, understand that you know, the people that represent us, our leadership, and you know, they don't represent us. How many regular people do you know that think pedophiles should be put in jail for a couple of years, separated away from general population, protected, and then they come out and they get to go on the registry and come live next to you? How many people support that? Like, I don't know anybody that doesn't respond the same way. You know, no, we should kill him. We shouldn't. You know, you get caught fucking with a child, you get caught raping somebody. You know, I mean, understand there are levels to this. You know, don't get it twisted. But for the most part, if you can have sex with somebody who doesn't want to have sex with you, they're passed out. They're like, I never understand the guys that can sleep with a sloppy drunk girl. Rape a sloppy drunk girl. That is so gross. What's attractive about that? But it's part of the Jewish, you know, the Jewish manipulation that's been put on people. You're such a victim. Poor you up. I'm talking like a victim here. Seriously, what's your obsession with pedophiles? Jesus Christ. Like, thank you. Again, thank you for being here and just proving the point, right? Right? Like nobody says that but pedophiles. Only pedophiles get mad at somebody speaking about pedophilia. And this is going to be the second time I've basically called this person, well, am calling this person a pedophile. They won't deny it. You know, like normal people. But this that shit, man. We need to be like, it's been enough time already, right? Christians, you've had enough time to make the world better. You failed. Muslims, same thing. If what you were pushing was truth, you wouldn't have to force it on people. People would come to you. It's like my feed, right? While my feed is still open, and if it doesn't have any of the governors on it, my feed will get hundreds of views because people are attracted to truth. I don't have to force this shit on anyone. But religion on all, it has to be forced on people. It's much more likely projecting. Right. Because what you see is a bunch of pedophiles out there calling for the death of pedophiles. Right. I mean, this is what you'll always see on my page. You'll see this cowardly bullshit, you know, cowardly, stupid, arrogant ignorance that just says the same dumb things, but doesn't make any real points. Definite. Now projector. This, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the white people that keep calling John Jones a duck. Just you're all just like, you're all these, and granted, most of these profiles are just Team Jorge bots. You've been extremely anti-Semitic. No, I haven't. Now you're labeling all Christians in a negative way. What's your problem? This is the guy I called a pedophile twice. That's his response. It's not, no, dude, I'm not a pedophile. I'm just wondering, or something like that. Fuck you, dude. I'm not a pedophile. Nothing like that. And again, let's see, like this shows you how stupid people are. I'm not anti-Semitic. I support the Palestinians and the, you know, the Syrians and the Iraqis and the Iranians. I definitely support Iran. At least in some regards. You know, I support all of these people's right to exist and live. Middle Eastern people. The black people that are considered Semitic definitely think they have a right to exist. My beef is anti-Semitism. I'm anti-Jewish supremacy. And maybe you should educate yourself before you come sit at the big boy table. Right? You're still sitting at the kid table, and you need to just sort of keep yourself there. Also recommends based on engagement too, and you sure do get people enraged. Engaged. Oh, sorry, there's a little thing on my screen. Hope your day's all right, dude. Just swinging by to say, hey, I'm heading out. Oh, that's too bad. We could have used another intelligent person on here. This is a man that suffers from paranoid schizophrenia. Look at me. Always looking out the window because people are trying to get me. Listening to those voices in my head. It's just, it's interesting how that all the trolls say the same things in the exact same way. And I really appreciate that they keep providing the same example, because it shows you that it has to come from one source. All of these people wouldn't speak the exact same way and say the exact same burns and, you know, get the exact same spellings wrong and all that. It's all very telltale. You know, they're again, these Jews are really stupid. You know, these Jews are they're dumb. You've been tricked into thinking that the Jews are somehow smarter than everybody else, and they're not. You know, if any country had $3.8 billion a year given to it just by the U.S. alone, and then all the other billions that come to them from all the other countries. If any small country of 9 million people had that much money being funneled into it, of course they would be, you know, at the forefront technologically and all that shit. And then they steal all the technology they have anyway. So, I mean, it's not surprising. Like, the reason the Jews run the show is not because they're smarter than us. It's because they're more ruthless than we are. It's because Jews poison wells. That's a pretty like nail in the coffin sort of argument, right? How many other groups have something like they poison drinking water wells as a stereotype that's followed their people throughout history? I've never heard that accusation being levied against anyone else. Yeah. And yes, all Jewish people. If you believe in that bullshit, if you believe in that supremacy, doesn't matter if you actively carry out Palestinians and then finding the women's underwear and posing for pictures dressed in it, like the Israelis love to do. It's that blind faith in such horrible things. And the reality is, like, it goes so much further than just the genocide. The reason why Jews are the most hated people in the world is because they insist on cutting and sucking baby dicks. Because circumcision is the most important tenet in the Jewish religion. The most important mitzvah in the Jewish religion. And in their shit, they not only do they cut the baby dick, they suck on it. And everybody who hears that, normal people at least, are completely grossed out and want nothing to do with it. And so they continuously get kicked out of countries because they insist on doing it. Not to mention poisoning water is classic castle siege tactic. Sure, I mean, I don't, when it comes to a lot of that stuff, you then have to rely on the Jewish history you're given and believe it one way or another. But I know when it comes to the poisoning of wells, that's one of those things that persists throughout history, regardless of them trying to say it's not real. Who could do that? Poisoning the drinking water well, knowing that the people will drink poison that's fucking awful. Hitting a little too close. So you think if I read your comment and then acknowledge it, that must mean you're hitting too close to home? So is that because you don't want me acknowledging your dumb comment anymore? I can do that.
Do you need me to plug in your phone over here?
Like, this is just crazy. Your car won't do it fast.
Oh.
I mean, while you get in the shower, or whatever, just give it to us. We'll charge it. What's the harm?
Yeah.
I mean, this is. Whatever's happening, stop. Okay, Nate, stop. Nathan, stop. This is crazy. Like it's weird how people just don't even bother to question. Like, hey, why do I think Jews are so special? Why do I think Jews are beyond the reach? Why do I think I shouldn't talk about Jews? Have you ever asked yourself that question?
No. I thought they stopped those types
Interesting how this works. And now I see about 22 minutes and I'm already cut down to the 17 marker. To the fluctuating between the 10s and the 20 and the teens. So if it said submarines aren't real, people would be like, I'm going to watch that. But because I'm being more direct, more honest. And you would think, like, as direct as as the title of the video is, you would think there would be people that would come in and address it. What do you mean? You're wrong about this. You're wrong about... Why have I not found anybody, especially not any Jewish scholars? Think about how many goddamn submarine people have come through here in the last 9 days. 10 days. People like, I'm on it. People claiming that they were literally on a submarine in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean right now. And of course, when I point out, like, you're on a submarine in the middle of the ocean and you're watching my feed, that seems pretty outrageous. Usually they sort of crumble at the whenever they get exposed. But I'm saying, like, think about how many people have come through here and my uncle worked on submarines, my dad worked, I see him out my window. All these same dumb fucking nonsense profiles saying the same shit. And yet when it comes to this, when it comes to Judaism, when it comes to religion, when it comes to anything, nothing. We get stuck. There's no people whose uncles are moyals, whose uncles are rabbis. No rabbis coming through. No Jewish people even coming through. Strangely enough, there's not even the dumb Christians who believe that the Jews, who are the bad guys in the Bible, are their God, are Christian God's chosen favorite people. And Jews, not only are they the bad guys, they look down on Christians. They think you're stupid. They think Mary is boiling in a vat of boiling semen in hell, and Jesus is a blah. They think all these crazy things. And yet you think they're God's chosen people. I've only found this stream by scrolling shorts. So have no clue what you titled it. Oh, well, that's one. Don't forget to like, share, and sub if you guys are watching. I always forget to mention that enough. I know a lot of people, like I should have a timer. Every 10 minutes, I'm going to say it from now on. Every time we get to a 5, 25, 35, I'm going to say, don't forget to like, share, and sub, guys.
Yeah.
Let's see. Dude, I saw a submarine coming towards your house. Uh-huh. You're not talking about the Jewish religion, it seems. You're talking about Jews as an ethnic group.
Right.
Well, what's the difference, really? I've always said, if you were raised in that supremacy, and once you got to an adult, you were like, oh, this shit is gross, it's fucked up, all they're racist, supremacist, they're pedophiles, they're disgusting, I want nothing to do with this, then you're like a champion in my world. You're like a hero.
Yeah.
The problem is I've never met any of those people. All right? I've never met anybody that used to be Jewish, that was raised Jewish. Because nobody wants to give up that level of opportunity, advancement, all that unfair advantage that you get being Jewish. They don't want to give that up.
Trying to get out of that. No, I know.
So, I've never met any of those. But if I did, that would be great. Might as well get you deported. Anything, right? See, this is what you'll see this over and over again, right?
Okay, so this is how
Instead of actually debunking or embracing anything I'm saying and engaging in it, they want people to stop. They want me to stop talking or you to stop watching or whatever. Isn't that strange? That's what Israel does. Anytime you talk about the genocide or anything like Netanyahu's a piece of shit, they tell you you're not allowed to talk about it. They don't deny anything. They can't deny anything. They just don't. They don't care about what we have to say, and they worry that if we say it loud enough, more goyim will hear it and start saying the same thing. But they don't actually care about our opinions. The difference is some people born ethnically Jewish aren't religiously Jewish. And fine, if they openly oppose Judaism, those people are heroes. But you can't just say, oh, well, I don't practice, so that makes it okay. The reason why the Vatican and the church is constantly able to rape so many children is because so many people believe in it and just give it that blind eye. They believe that somehow these people are special and they're different than average everyday people, and how average everyday people would get thrown in jail and blah, blah, blah. These people are special. They get to go to the Vatican and live their life out in penance and blah, blah, blah. You probably have, but most people don't define themselves by what they aren't. Well, I know that if you talk to a Jew, within about 5 minutes, you're going to hear something about, well, I'm Jewish, and because I'm Jewish, or, with the Holocaust, and they love bringing Judaism into it. And there's an ethnic look to them that, that's pretty identifiable. Plus, I'm this person. So, really quickly, I would know your stance on things, because you would know mine. And what's your opinion? And your opinion, what's happening in Ukraine, is that genocide? I don't believe that's real. There's so much that just doesn't make sense. But the one thing that nobody ever asked themselves is, why do we care about Ukraine so much? Ukraine doesn't supply us anything. Ukraine isn't any sort of ally. If you know your history, you know that Ukraine, especially Kiev, is sort of the catalyst for a lot of different events that have happened in history. For some reason, it's a historically important place, at least as far as the narrative's concerned. But like the idea that gas prices and food prices have gone up because of the Ukraine situation, that's fucking silly. They don't. It shouldn't. No gas. No nothing comes out of there. So it just doesn't make any sense. Other than it's a distraction. Other than if they tell the American people, we're going to give Ukraine $200 billion, and everybody's like, oh, and they get all $200 billion, and then they go, yeah, and by the way, we're going to give Israel $18 billion, and actually give $18 billion, not theoretically $200 billion, but actually give Israel $18 billion in the last year. People go, well, It's not 200 billion. 18's nothing. Okay, whatever. I don't care about 200 billion. 200 billion. People don't ask themselves why do we care about Israel or about Ukraine, about Kiev? Because Kiev has one of the largest Jewish populations in that whole region. It's actually a historically Jewish area. And prior to the unprovoked invasion, Israel was running 3 747s or whatever the biggest plane is. They were running those 3 of them nonstop for 3 weeks, bringing anybody from Kiev that wanted to come to Israel and given a mansion and a compound and given their Israel check, and anybody who wanted to could come to Israel for 3 weeks. They didn't know there was an invasion going to happen, but they did it for 3 whole weeks. So it's fucking stupid. The Ukraine thing is the distraction. It's not real. How come there's no videos out of Ukraine that aren't the news? It's just like with the Trump shooting. Where are all the cell phone videos? Where are all the live feeds out of Ukraine? Where are all the live feeds from the Trump shooting? There's an easy way to tell what's real and what isn't. And the fact that we live in 2020s and people walk around with 2 cell phones when there's no cell phone footage, that tells you something. Jews are moving to Ukraine. It's the Khazarian territory. Okay, so what about the Middle East using that logic? Why are you so concerned?
Exactly.
Which shows you how stupid Americans are, right? Which you don't realize. Stop it! Nathan, why aren't you stopping, dude? Nathan! Last chance, bud. The whole thing with the Middle East, like first of all, American tax dollars are being funneled into Israel left and right. Secondly, American troops are being funneled into Israel left and right. The 2 largest aircraft carriers in our Navy are stationed in Israel. How much do you think those things cost to run every day? And very soon, trust me, very soon, regarding this whole narrative, a bunch of Americans are going to get killed so they can get us into like a Pearl Harbor or a 9/11 kind of situation. So in a situation where the American people don't really care and are pretty much opposed to it, they're going to create one of those narratives where you better be American. You better tie a yellow ribbon around your tree. This is how this works. It's the old, they're Jews. They're stupid. They have a certain playbook that they go by, and they're not smart enough to deviate. They're not smart enough to come up with new plans. They just keep rehashing the same thing. Like the Trump presidency campaign was literally the exact same one that they ran in 2015. Where, he lost the 2016 election by 2.7 million votes, and the swamp put him in anyway. Ukraine supplies a large chunk of the food for Europe. Really? You buy that? How could Ukraine, way north Ukraine, where it's cold so much of the time, you're telling me Europe can't provide its own food? They have to get their food from Ukraine? Do you know how ridiculous that is? Okay, kind of off the rails. Unfortunately, the more you talk, the more I realize you've abandoned logic and common sense. I'm moving on, sir. Have a great day. Yeah, of course. So instead of actually debunking anything I'm saying, you just get uncomfortable and go, oh, my vagina. Oh. What now? Okay, Nathan. Okay, why can't you just use 2 other guys? Why can't he use 2 guys, Nick? Stop talking, Nathan.
Whenever he grabs something, he doesn't want it. He doesn't put it back. He just drops it.
Okay, stop. Do you hear what he's saying to you?
Yes, but that.
Okay, it's not yes, but. If you're going to use his stuff, then do what he asks you to do. Okay, so that's that simple. Instead of arguing and making a deal out of it, you need to tell him, okay, dude, you're right, I got you.
These 2 guys, he's not even...
Okay, we've already gotten past that. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Retinol. Retinol reduces wrinkles.
Yeah, 16.
All right. Ukraine isn't that northern. Gotcha. You're right. It's not.
Right. Yeah, no, you should have got.
Probably doesn't even snow there.
Okay, so, yeah.
It's about as northern as the U.S.-Canada border.
Because
Right.
sometimes people
That's
have-
pretty fucking northern.
it was because they were
They are their last opposition.
running that.
Don't know what that is.
After we
That's like saying, how can they grow corn in Iowa? No, it's not. That's not at all like saying, how can they grow corn in Iowa? Saying, I don't buy that Ukraine provides a large chunk of the food for Europe. That's not the same thing, you doofus. When you start getting desperate, you start saying dumb things, and that's the problem. This guy's in charge of children, says the fake Jew dumbass from like this again. Another troll that is here for the fifth time, yet won't address anything being said. Strange how this works, right? Do I really have to keep getting involved in this? I know. I'm not talking to you, Nathan. Why do I have to keep getting involved here? So you dropped something, right? So he's asking you to look for it, right? Okay, well, it didn't disappear, did it? Nathan. So you obviously need to look more then, right? Right. Go take care of that, please. Yes, it shows in Ukraine. What does it do the other 8 months of the year?
Like I said,
it shows in Ukraine. What does it do?
So,
oh, it snows. Hey, again, why would Ukraine provide the food for Europe? Why wouldn't Europe get food from other places?
Like in your case.
And even more so, why would that affect us, you dumb ass? The initial argument was that Ukraine doesn't do anything for us. So for us, the United States, to be involved in that shit doesn't make sense. If Ukraine did provide food for the UK or for Europe, I guess that would make sense for them to be involved. But that wouldn't make much sense for us to be involved. Now would it? Come on, let's use our big boy brains on this one. Nathan, it did not just disappear, correct? Okay, well, as far as I can tell, you've looked for maybe 2 minutes. So maybe you need to look more, or you're just going to be done playing.
It's in the hallway, and I'm not looking in Nick's room.
You're going to go look for the thing you dropped, wherever you need to look for it, right? Why? Okay, well then you can go chill out in your room, dude. Nathan, no, stop, Nick, stop talking. Nick, stop talking. Nathan, come here.
I'm looking for the thing, and he said...
Okay, he had to get me to get you to even look for it, right?
Yeah.
And you keep doing things that you know you shouldn't do, but you're doing them anyway, right? Really? He's asked you repeatedly to... Stop talking, Nick! He asked you repeatedly to look for the things and do this or do that, and you keep saying no, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, I'm not saying no. I've been looking for it, and I'm saying...
Nathan.
I can't find it.
Nate. I can't find it after looking for a minute is not acceptable. It doesn't matter if you can't find it yet. You have to keep looking because you dropped it and you know it didn't disappear. So you repeatedly saying over and over again, I can't find it. That's not going to work, is it? So go find the toy, and then when you're done, if you're not going to follow the rules, you can go do something else.
Oh, holy shit. You just got taken a haircut.
Same shirt, day 4. I don't think it's day 4. Matter of fact, I know it's not day 4. This is the second day of this shirt.
No good.
Nice try, though. Demand goes up, prices go up still. Also imports food, so do price of the food that goes up. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, do you know how stupid you sound?
Yeah.
What food are we
Yeah, it was
importing
ridiculous.
that we can't handle? That causes all of our food to go up because of you? Like, this is just dumb. These are dumb arguments. You think the governments of Europe give a shit about their citizens' food supply? Yes, of course. The thing that most people just don't understand. I'm going to give you guys the big secret, right? Algo, a guy I know that always goes this route. Let's see if we can't get Algo here just for the fun of it. Hang on. The secret to this is that they give you the solutions and tell you they're bad.
Right.
So they tell you that the one world government is a bad thing. Like there isn't already a one world government. Right? They tell you that a one world religion is a bad thing when if it was a one world religion where we were focused on man and what we were capable of, things would be a lot better. Not a bunch of silly, goofy sky daddies. But most importantly, they're always telling you, like everybody's always scared of depopulation. If you go look at early like 20s, there was a group called the Futurists. That's where the whole Jetsons, you know, eating pill food and living in super high rises and that old retro future thing. That whole okay, Nathan.
He threw another bit of Lego and it exploded. He didn't know if he threw it against the wall and break. No.
Okay, you're done.
Wait.
What? Tell me how this is okay.
One, it's not Nick's, and two, I did.
Who cares if it's not
No,
Nick's?
I was trying to give it back. Wait.
Stop talking, Nick.
I was trying to give it back to him, so I tried to throw it on the pillow. It broke, and I'm about to go grab it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you really? You were trying to give it back, so you threw it? Why would you throw it?
I threw it onto his bed, and it
But why would you throw it?
Because I don't want to go in Nick's room.
Yeah.
Okay, so more of your nonsense then. So you either go hang out in your room or go hang out in the living room. Leave Nick alone.
Okay.
Nick, do you need him to clean something up first? All right, thanks. Yep. So the one thing that the futurists, you can find videos of these people. So the older Jews that were sort of in charge of the futurists were very like optimistic and it's going to be so amazing and blah blah blah. But when they talked to the youth of the day, the youth would always say things like, "Yeah, it'll be amazing, but at the end we're just gonna everybody, nukes will just get launched and we'll just wipe each other out. We'll just wipe humanity out." That's what everything is. And if you look at every belief structure, everything you're supposed to believe in is all about death, doom, and gloom. Whether you're a Christian or you're a science person. The best thing that can happen to all Christians, like the very best scenario, is that Jesus comes down, and as soon as this little toenail touches the ground, the rapture begins, and the 5 or 6 good Christians that exist get raptured up into heaven, while the rest of us all die in Armageddon. That's the best case scenario. If you believe in science, then it's, invisible rocks fall out of the sky and wipe out dinosaurs, and we are long overdue. And there's so many death, doom, and gloom science things. Like, it's crazy. Everything that exists is death, doom, and gloom. It's a rock can fall out of the sky and wipe everything out. Death, doom, gloom. We could have a pole shift where the North Pole suddenly becomes the South Pole, and the crust of the Earth is like a orange peel, and the inside is still there, but the outside spins around. And we know that because somebody once found a woolly mammoth that had grass in its mouth. It was in mid-chew when it was flash frozen. It must have been a pole shift. And we are long overdue for that. Oh yeah, rock falling out of the sky? We are long overdue for that. Yellowstone blowing up? We are long overdue for that. An ice age? We are long overdue for that. Everything that people believe is about death, doom, and destruction. And for the longest time, the like standard belief was that we were going to nuke each other, mutually assured destruction, mad. And it wasn't until like the 90s, 2000s where it switched from, hide under your desk, duck and cover because UFOs, yep, UFOs, another one. UFOs are these invisible bad guys that are going to come death, doom, and wipe us out, enslave us all, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's always scary bullshit. But it's all about depopulation, always depopulation. And the futurists, like I say, they would interview the kids, and the kids would say, "Oh, we're just going to get wiped out by nukes." and it's another one of those invisible bad guys. Oh, well, you've seen videos of models exploding, haven't you? Well, that means they're real. Nukes are real. The heavily edited Hiroshima footage. Oh, that's real. So what they always have you believing is we're always on the precipice of death, doom, and gloom of population. Why? Because a population in fear is a much easier population to control. But what we don't really understand, what us dumb goyim haven't realized because we've been tricked, is that it's the population that allows the elite to live the life they live. One of the great things about being elite is that you can go, hey, sweetheart, you know what? I feel like having lunch in Paris today. You want to have lunch in Paris? Let's have lunch in Paris, and then we'll jet on down to the insert your island for a week or two, and then we can hop on over. I know this great party in New York, and then that's just before Burning Man. We'll go to Burning Man. And then after that, we'll go get on the boat and we'll go around and they want to just be able to do whatever they want to do, however they want to do it, whenever they want to do it. And they wouldn't be able to do that if we weren't everywhere. If they didn't have their servants always ready and available at all times. Forgot what the Saudi yacht, this mega yacht that they have is. But it's got a staff of like 122 people. And they're always there. Even though they only use the boat every couple months or whatever, the yacht, the staff is always there. The food reserves are always stocked. It's always fueled. It's always washed. Because they might feel like going. They might get a call that says, hey, the prince is on his way down. Let's go. And that's what they do. So when you are caught up in the depopulation myth, which has now been put into biologics. In the 2000s, they switched it over to biologics. They've been programming us with biologic, with SARS. The SARS and the SARS and the SARS and, the 1976 swine flu vaccination program that people have completely forgotten about, where the system supposedly vaccinated us safe against the coronavirus. And then when 2020 happened, instead of them saying, hey, we are, don't worry, we're good, we did it in 76, we did it. So it's like fucking 50 years later almost, right? Almost 40 years later. Advancements are so much better. This is another coronavirus. Don't worry, we got the vaccines for it, just like we did in 76. They didn't say that. They were like, oh, this is like the Spanish flu of 100 years ago where 25 million Americans died and the burka scared. We scared. They're gonna wipe us out. Everything's gonna get wiped out. Everything's gonna be wiped out. Don't worry, he's gonna still shoot himself. At least he shot himself in the heart so that his brain could be saved. The U.S. imports like $175 billion of food every year. Yeah. The fact is, the only thing that you know is what you're told to know. You really don't know any of it. And the thing is, too, a good portion of that comes through the South. But, you know, we got to put that border up. Serious question. What do you think UFOs are? What do I think UFOs are? I think the majority of them are government technology. And I think that I've always said, and this, I avoid talking about this because I don't have as much proof of this as I do other things. And this is one of those things where we need to overthrow the Jews that control the narrative if we want to really get to the bottom of this question, right? So if we really want to know the answer to what UFOs are or anything, it requires us overthrowing the people committing the genocide right now. And that's where it always just keeps coming back to. And we have to keep our minds focused on now instead of the past. Another great thing they do is keep us focused on a past. We have no idea, like that. We only know what they want us to know. We don't know if that past is true. We can't change it. We can't manipulate it. There's nothing we can do about it. We just have to believe a narrative we're told by a system that lies to us about everything. And it's a past that doesn't really make much sense. But to me, I think we live in, I think we are the product of a much more version of ourselves who have created the ultimate reality TV show, basically. Okay, it's downstairs. The ultimate reality TV show. That's what we are. And no, it's not. It's downstairs. It's in the living room. But I think that we are, you know, the TV show theory actually explains everything. And I know it's similar to the program that we're just a program, that we're just a computer simulation, whatever, but I don't think that's it. I think I'm alive. You know, I can't deal with not being alive. So I'm alive. I don't think that's digital, but I do think our scenario is manipulated and computer controlled. I mean, there's a reason why the Fibonacci sequence is in everything. Someone figured out, Fibonacci figured out that, like, the core code of this construct, of this 3D computer, so to speak, this fractal 3D computer thing that we live in, that, I mean, I don't know what to call it. We're talking about a people that's 100, 500, 1,000, 10,000 years more advanced than we are. So to know exactly what to call it is arrogant. You know, to say it, to think I would know it would be arrogant. But I'm not arrogant like that. I just think when you look at the scenario that we've been given, you know, what answers questions? What requires the least amount of faith and answers the most questions? And that's not how people generally seem to approach things, which is difficult, which makes the investigation difficult. Nobody's talking about let's make sense out of things. And I know it might sound weird to you, but what makes more sense? The official Big Bang bullshit or the God bullshit, which is basically the same bullshit, just different names, different sort of scenarios, but it's all basically the same thing. Or a more advanced version of us has us in something we don't realize we're in, and they manipulate everything. And the UFOs are just, the chosen, the directors, the producers, maybe even the famous people from the outside coming inside to meet their favorite famous people. Again, I know most of you are going to be programmed to be like, dude, that's crazy, while you believe in the Big Bang, which is just stupid. While you believe the Earth is a round ball flying through space that you can't feel. Like, it's crazy because, I think the TV show answers even the most fundamental question that nobody seems to even tackle anymore. But the question of, why are we here? What is our purpose? And when you realize that, like, our purpose is to be unwitting extras in a reality TV show that, for all we know, a lot of us might be our own little star in our own little world. We don't, we just don't realize. The watchers can watch whatever they want. I'm sure there are cameras everywhere, and they can watch whatever characters they want to watch. Let's see. See, the person keeps bringing up the food prices because they're trying to justify why the U.S. is distracting the people with the Ukraine thing. And it's like, they don't know the history. They don't know. They're saying stupid things. What's going on? Okay. Like, think about it. Like, just think about the narrative that's being given here. The U.S. food prices are going to go up in the U.S. because of some bullshit going on in the Ukraine. And never mind the Jewish thing, right? We can't look at that part. Can't look at the fact that it's such a hugely, especially Kiev is hugely Jewish. That's just coincidental. Of all the places in the world, it's Ukraine that that supplies the food and runs the world. You know what I found funny about the Ukraine thing too is, when have you ever heard of a country like upset because Israel didn't help them in their efforts? And see, this is the thing, like, you don't even realize that the bullshit that's involved. Israel isn't helping Ukraine because Russia controls Syrian airspace, and Israel wants to be able to attack the Syrians, drop bombs on the Syrians, but they wouldn't be able to do that if they made enemies out of Russia. So they help the Ukrainians, but not fully and not openly, because they want to be able to kill Syrians. Like, and by Syrians, they're saying that they're not just Syrians, they're Iranian proxies in Syria. Like, when you start looking at the bullshit narrative that we're given, it's just stupid. The prices don't mean nothing to them. They don't care about money, about what we pay. I love that. That's a great point. The money, like, when people say follow the money, you're still at the kids' table when you talk about follow the money. When you print the money, you don't care about the money. You print it. The money is for us. The money's for the goyim, to control the goyim. The money is the carrot on the stick. It's bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. And as soon as you start talking about the amount of money, like, the people have, like the Waltons and the Rothschilds, which never seem to come up anymore. Talking about numbers that the rest of us, like, you can't even you can't fathom what $1 billion is. You in your human head, like even the greatest mathematicians and shit, they don't, once you start getting into trillion and stuff like that, it's sort of like theoretical math almost. Like they sort of joke about it, but billion, trillion, all that shit is, those numbers are so great that we humans can't even fathom it. You can't even understand what that is. You know, there's very, very rarely do you see a billion of anything. You definitely don't see a trillion of anything. Maybe if you go to the beach and you're looking at grains of sand, you might see a billion. You might see, or you might see a trillion. But you know, these numbers are just, they're not. You're just being duped. You're being fucked with. They're fucking with you when they start talking about these numbers. And you know, it was funny. Like last year, they haven't done it in a while. Usually they do that thing where they try to pretend like, oh, well, we're mad because one side of the government isn't playing nice with the other side, or the people are talking too much, or whatever. So the government's not going to pay itself. We're going to go on furlough. We're not going to not get paid. We're just going to go on furlough, and then, you know, basically a vacation, and we get paid at the end. I mean, some people, yeah, they have to work, low-level people, but for the most part, it's not like that. But the last time they did one of these, at the same time, they were talking about giving Israel $14 billion. And it's like, how are you going to give Israel $14 billion, but we're not getting paid? Like, we can't pay our own people. It's funny how you never see the dumb Trumpansies. Like, they're always talking shit about, you know, America first. I mean, we make America great, blah, 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 blah. What about Israel makes America, affects America, you know, makes us great, anything like that? What about paying for Israeli genocide? How does that work? How is sending literal billions of dollars not direct support to Ukraine, not to mention all the military hardware? How do you know it's happening? You know, they don't necessarily, they talk about it. They definitely talk about it. And at the same time, in that scenario, like if you believe that scenario, Ukraine is the victim. Ukraine is the victim. They had their, you know, they were the ones that were invaded, and, you know, the narrative that we're given, that's Ukraine is the victim. In the other narrative, the Israeli narrative, Israel is the aggressor. Why are we paying the aggressor?
What am I missing? Sword. I don't know. I have a sword. Okay, I got. Oh yeah. I need the lighter.
Like, these aren't the same narratives. These aren't the same arguments, whether you're too stupid to see it or not. They're not even giving us the same bullshit narrative, and people are still falling for it like it is. It's really obvious what's going on here. And Ukraine is the distraction. You're supposed to be distracted. And you hear the things that they say. Jon Stewart, surprise, surprise, does a good job of showing the difference between how the Israeli conflict is covered and the Ukrainian conflict is covered. Ukrainians, you absolutely cannot attack civilians, or blah blah, like all the rhetoric that the goofy Jewish fucking lobby, Jewish AIPAC funded representatives all spew. They say all the right things when the Jews are supposedly the victims. But trust me, Jews are not being killed. If there was anywhere where Jews were being killed, it would be immediate. There would be an immediate response, and it would be a hard, you know, loud one. Like it wouldn't be allowed. You're behind the times. If Rothschilds are where you go to for rich guy. Right. The richest people in the planet suddenly stopped becoming the richest people in the planet. It's not that they control the narrative and they don't want people talking about them, so they're not talked about. No. It's that they just lost all their money You're so stupid. That's probably the stupidest thing you've said. I voted for Trump and don't think we should give Israel assent or the Ukraine. Well, then you shouldn't have voted for Trump, you dumbass. According to Netanyahu, Trump is the greatest friend the Israeli people and Israel have ever known. Trump is the reason why all of this Israeli bullshit's happening to begin with. Trump is who strengthened Israel's power, and at the same time, while all of you were distracted by the Kobe bullshit, which Kobe didn't die. Like I said about the people in the submarine, for all we know, the rich, powerful are being.
Really does. Just from the customer standpoint,
are being
I get why you're doing it, but when she did
moved somewhere. And it's funny when you speak about Kobe.
Your store did.
It's amazing how this guy got convicted. Well, he would have been convicted of rape if he didn't settle out of court for some $30 million. Amazing how the girl that he settled out of court with has somehow remained anonymous this whole time. $30 million she got for that. And nobody even thought to interview her. Nobody thought, hey, we'll keep you anonymous, but we just want to know your opinion on this. All I have to say, whenever somebody talks about, oh, you're crazy, Kobe died. Yeah? Show me the pictures of the funeral. You're telling me that the narrative is that Kobe Bryant's wife, quote, called the media and asked them not to cover the funeral. Somehow she called all of the newspaper all over the world. All of the paparazzi, Inquirer kind of shit, all of that. She called all of them. And they were all like, okay. Nobody thought, you know what? Everybody else is not going. I'm going to be the one that does get the foot. Nope, not a single fucking person. You can't even tell me when the Kobe funeral happened. Because if you say it happened on whatever day you say it happened, and wouldn't there have been a lot of people that would have been at it? Yet all those people were still to be found in their normal positions. Nobody seemed to disappear to go to a Kobe funeral. But Kobe supposedly died on a Sunday, on Monday, and Tuesday, that's all everybody was talking about. Wednesday was the day that the Trump impeachment was scheduled to come to an end. Which, again, you just think about, like, they're scheduling court cases coming. Gotcha. But on that Tuesday, when everybody was talking about Kobe, the only news that was actually covering what the government was doing was the 700 Club, surprisingly. And on that Tuesday, Trump signed legislation that said all colleges and universities across the country have to have a pro-Israel curriculum and have to actively remove any BDS or anti-Israel groups at the risk of losing federal funding. And most major universities can't exist without federal funding. It's like more than half of their funding is federal funding. And you guys don't know, but that's legislation that's anti-First Amendment, like everything legislation. Just so happened to get signed just before all this bullshit took place. Go figure, huh? Why are you so rude and condescending to people? Right. I should be nice to you. You've been nothing but nice. We should just be friends. You want to come over and hang out? You've got a literal billionaire being besties with the president-elect, but you're hung up on the Rothschild. Who made that billionaire? See, this is where you're dumb, right? You just accept that, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, something like that, out of nowhere, Elon Musk is given $4 billion by the United States government. You give me $4 billion 10, 15 years from now, I'm going to be somebody awesome too. Elon Musk isn't doing any of that shit. He's just like Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs didn't invent the iPhone and shit. A bunch of no-name nerds did. Same thing with Tesla. Elon didn't do any of that shit. A bunch of no-name nerds did. And if you're dumb enough to believe that they put a car in orbit, not in orbit around the Earth, in its own unique orbit around the sun, and out in space the tires didn't pop and the glass didn't break, the paint didn't, none of it. But you can't just go see it because it's in its own unique orbit. We could just put things in orbit now. Makes sense. You just buy into Elon Musk. He just appears and is given all this money, and then, like, come on. I'm sorry. You fall for the, we're going to slap you with the right hand or slap you with the left hand. You pick one thing. You fall for the election bullshit. You think the president is anything other than a figurehead? Are you one of those people that thinks the president is like sitting at his desk in the Oval Office, the big desk, and he's got all of his figures in front of him, and he's got the budget, and he's crunching the numbers. Oh my gosh, we can take $1 billion, we can take $1 million out of here, we can give this money to Israel, and we could take this money out, we can give that money to Israel. You think he's sitting there figuring all this out? Excuse me, Betty? Yes, Mr. President. Can you bring in the foreign policy stuff, all the papers we have on foreign policy, please? I'd like to figure some things out. And she brings in all the foreign policy papers, and he's like, okay, I gotta figure it. Okay, I'm gonna schedule a meeting with this guy, and I'm gonna try to work out this conflict over here. I gotta figure this out. What can we do? You know what? To get Israel, to get Saudi Arabia to sign a normalization deal, what can we do to get Bahrain to sign a normalization? You know what? We'll give them a bunch of fighter jets and a bunch of money and a bunch of promise. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. And then what are we going to do with Morocco and Qatar? Oh, hey, we'll let Qatar have FIFA. That'll be a good thing. I'll just call my people at FIFA. And are you serious? Is that what you think the president does? The president's a fucking figurehead. He does nothing but what he's told. He's literally surrounded by Jews, especially if you see all of the people that Trump is putting in office right now, all the hires, it's like all Jews. They're not even hiding it this time. All the new people are Jews. That's delusional. Both parties are going to continue to fund Israel. Exactly. That's why when you get hung up on what they supposedly disagree on instead of the things that they agree on. I've been saying this for years. Prior to the campaign bullshit, even while it was going, Trump's number one priority while president was the Abraham Accords. They talk about it like it's his number one legacy. And what the Abraham Accords were a bunch of normalization deals. Now, have you ever heard of a normalization deal before? No. And you can't find what the definition of a normalization deal is, but from what I can tell, when Israel decides, and it has also to do with the Ben Yehuda channel that's being built, and this pipeline that's being built through these areas too. But when Israel decides that they want to be able to go to a place like Qatar, they wanted to go to the FIFA in Qatar, and Qatar wasn't Israel friendly. So what they do is Israel decides they want the place. The U.S. then goes, the president of the U.S. then goes to the place and says, okay, look, if you'll play nice with Israel and you'll let the Israelis come and go as they please without needing passports and shit like that, without needing visas, they just now are basically like citizens of your place. Along with promising that no matter what Israel does, you won't interfere, you won't fight against Israel. The United States is willing to give you X billion dollars and lift these sanctions, and we'll give you, like with Bahrain, we gave them, I think it was, let's say it's 20 F-35 fighter jets, right? Well, because of what's called a memorandum of understanding that says Israel is to have the largest military in the region by far, and it's on the shoulders of the United States to make sure that happens. It's the memorandum of understanding. So if we give Bahrain 20 F-35 fighter jets to offset that, we have to give Israel 40 F-35 fighter jets. So in order to navigate to make this deal happen, this normalization deal, so Israel can do what they want and have a guarantee that Bahrain won't interfere if, let's say, Israel, I don't know, decides to commit genocide. And you've seen it. None of the Muslim countries are interfering, saying anything. It's really kind of weird, especially all the countries that sign the normalization deals. But to get them to do that, it cost us 20 F-35 jets for Bahrain, but another 40 for Israel, on top of all the other bullshit that we had to give Bahrain. So the Abraham Accords are basically Trump going around to all these countries and offering the U.S. payment funding for Israel to get what they want, for Israel to get the protection, and for Israel to get the ability to run their Ben Gurion channel and, you know, all these other things. Trump negotiated all these deals. The Trump presidency did. And actually Trump was over there doing all these things. Once Trump stopped doing that, if you go look at all of 2023, once they put Netanyahu in charge in November of 2022, while you were all distracted by Kanye telling you the rules on how you're allowed to talk about Jews and that you're not allowed to, backed up by Kyrie and Dave Chappelle. While they were putting, you know, they put him in 2020, and then all of 2023, if you go look, Anthony Blinken, Jake Sullivan, and Biden were over there trying to negotiate a normalization deal with Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia said they refused. They would continue to refuse the normalization deal because, one, they're so rich they don't need anything, and two, they claimed it was because Israel won't play nice with the Palestinians. Israel's such an asshole to the Palestinians. Which makes you wonder why Saudi Arabia isn't stepping up and attacking Israel for genocide against the Palestinians. But Biden had negotiated a deal that we were going to give Saudi Arabia a nuclear program, a civilian nuclear program. We were going to give them a civilian nuclear program. There was a $2.3 trillion arms deal that Trump brokered just before he was leaving with Saudi Arabia, which is why he refused to make a big... Remember when Adnan Khashoggi, a Jew, mind you, was killed, and then the Saudi Arabian lied about it and all that, and then it finally came out that they actually did kill him. They dismembered him and dissolved each part of his body in a vat of acid. And I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a day where YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram were all shut down for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. It's because video of Khashoggi getting killed had been leaked on, and people were watching that video in the when it went down. People were in the middle of watching, like, what the fuck am I watching here? They had to scrub the video from the platforms. But instead of going after Saudi Arabia for that killing of a press agent, the lying, the dismemberment, all these horrible violations of international law, Trump refused because there was a $2.3 trillion or billion dollar weapons deal going through where Saudi Arabia was going to buy $2.3 billion worth of weapons from the United States. And I guess that deal was supposedly frozen when Biden took over. That we got the money, but they never got their weapons, I guess, or some shit like that. And so Biden was going to unfreeze that deal. He was going to give them their nuclear program and then a whole bunch of other things to get Saudi Arabia to sign the normalization deal. We had Biden, Sullivan, Secretary of State, Blinken. We had all these people over there trying to negotiate a normalization deal between basically the two most guilty countries are the most guilty. They have more war crimes violations than anyone else. Saudi Arabia and the Saudi royalty practice the Wahhabi sect of Islam, and that's the Islam that all you white people are so scared of. You know, the one that mutilates little girls, the one that kills gay people, you know, the one that's like, look at how they have our news talking, look at how progressive Saudi Arabia is. They're allowing women to drive during the daytime and with a man in the car. Look at that. They're so progressive now. That's the scary Islam is Wahhabi Islam, and that's Saudi Arabia. So you have the president, both presidents, Trump and Biden, and throughout the years, whatever, all of them, doing their damnedest to give them a nuclear program and make it so they will turn a blind eye to everything Israel, the people committing genocide and who have been in an illegal occupation for 70 plus years, violating war, like this, a violation, a war crime violation every single day, multiple. And the president's trying to manufacture a deal between them, both presidents. While you're distracted by our borders aren't safe. Our borders aren't safe. What does Israel have to do? That's 10,000 miles away. What does that have to do with anything with us? If it didn't have anything to do with us, then why would why would Israel be their number one priority? Trump's main legacy is not the wall, it's the Abraham Accords. You know, why is Israel such a huge priority for the United States? Is Israel a huge priority for you, a United States citizen? Let's see, South American emerald mine money, a billionaire at the base. Yeah, that's what it is. Again, who owns all the mines in South America? The Jews. Given the curl of your hair, are you sure you're not Jewish? LOL. Yeah, that must be it. Only people that have curly hair are Jewish. Do you see how crazy this all is? And of course, I'm down to 4 people. Like, this is the lowest number I've had in a while. Especially only an hour in. Let's do something. Let's try something, right? I said South America. That's what I said. Did I say South Africa? Yeah. I might have said South America, but South Africa. Yep. Sorry. Misspoke. That must be it. I'm wrong because I misspoke. Give me your profile of your nose. If your nose so confident, give us the profile of your nose if you're so confident you're not a Jew. Yeah, you need the profile. Like, I couldn't care less what you think. If you think that there's a Jew out here, like, if I'm Jewish, then I'm the representation of everything we should be, right? If I'm Jewish, then wouldn't it be great? Like, it would be even more significant if I was Jewish, because I would be saying these things against my own people, which is, you know, that's strong. That's strong there. Most people, you don't see it. Where are the Jews speaking out against Judaism? But this is, you know, stupid desperation is so predictable. This is just what stupid desperation does every time. But anyway, I'm going to restart. Let's try the submarine philosophy and see what happens. So, if you want to come back, come back. If not, no.
Okay.
Pedophiles. What should the pedophiles do, guys?
Not burn in hell.
Kill themselves. Pedophiles, kill yourself.